Hello everybody, this is Hollow and welcome to Reddit Creepy Encounters. This is the first episode that we're going to do like this. I hope you guys enjoy. This first story is from user complete_candle1634. Hey everyone, hope your holidays treated you well. I'm writing this on a throwaway because, well, I don't know. Just feels better, I guess. I'm a 23-year-old female, and while I do have to dodge the occasional creep, it's moments like this that make me question whether or not humanity has any hope at all, and debate if anyone can really be trusted. So for context of this story, I'm about 4'11". I miss the talk gene that my family has. I'm petite, but trust me, all the height translates well into fury. I go running at the track not far from where I live, not even really for the intent of exercising. It's more like my decompression stop to daydream and run off the day's frustrations. I did about a mile and had a seat on a bench to catch my breath, look for another playlist on my iPod, and debate if I was going to do any further running. A man came and sat next to me. He was extremely large, both in stature and body weight. Somewhere in the ballpark of about 6'4", I'd say. He could have easily squished me like a bug. I didn't pay him much mind, or at least tried not to. It was especially hard given the ample amount of park benches around the track that were completely unoccupied. He said something, but I could barely hear him with my AirPods in. I took him out and asked him to repeat himself. He said,
I said they don't make them the way they were when I was your age.
I was confused, but not really confused. He went on to say things like,
Bodies are changing, and if I had a girlfriend like you.
After continuing to not say anything to him, he asked if my parents were okay with me being out in the park alone. He also asked what time my curfew was. He then started rambling on about my butt and my breasts, implying that I was extremely advanced for my age. Dude, I'm small, and yes, I have tits, but I'm old enough to drink at a bar, I'm financing a car, and I vote, I pay rent. This is still creepy. I got up to leave and he stood up after me. He asked if he could take me for food, but I ignored him and kept walking. I went near the bathroom where they have a set of wall lockers and got my things. I also made a pit stop in the bathroom for obvious reasons. When I left, I started making my way to my car, but he was on the sidewalk not far away from where my vehicle was. I made the long loop around so that I wouldn't have to pass near him. As I'm about to get in my car, he calls out to me and says,
Oh, so you can drive?
I don't know if that was a disappointment to figure out that I was older than he had thought or whatever. I didn't stop and I didn't feel like asking. I got in the car and left. He made a motion for me to stop, but I didn't. I also had my hand on my revolver. Don't think it was that extreme of a case, but screw it, I'd rather ask for forgiveness. The reason I'm typing this narrative out in the first place is because I got a card in the mail in surprise. There's a registered sex offender in my neighborhood that commuted crude acts towards a minor, and guess whose black and white picture was in the corner? I filed a police report this afternoon. I told them he was at a public park and possibly thought I was a minor. They said they'd look into it, but judging by how they took my report, I hold out little hope. This story was posted by user Pothos Babe Belikov. Leaving my friend's house one night, I accidentally backed into a brick mailbox. My bike rack hit the mailbox, so my car was okay, but completely demolished the mailbox. No big deal, right? That's why we have insurance. I went to the neighbor and told them what happened and gave them my insurance, phone number, and name. All I got was his first name. From the get-go, this dude was creepy. He kept hitting on me, trying to date me, specifically trying to feed me. I left. On my drive to my mom's, the guy I backed into, Robert, began to text and call me. He was insistent that it was better for both of us to just pay out of pocket for the mailbox, sending me links to companies that could fix it for $500, and demanding I go on a date with him so I could give him the cash for the repair and he could feed me. I don't know what his deal with the food was. I declined everything, but started to get annoyed by his constant texts and calls. Finally, after 2 days of it with my responses only, please contact my insurance, I sent him a text saying that he was harassing me. I blocked him, but he made a new number and threatened to report it as a hit and run to the police. I'm in law school, okay? This wasn't a hit and run. I blocked the second number. Then he used a new number to ask me if I wanted to send him a screenshot or a video of the incident to his insurance. I admit, this made me angry. I called this number and dug my nails so hard into my thigh I drew blood as he threatened to report things, asked me on a date, trying to entice me to just pay him cash. I finally screamed, "Don't contact me again, you fucking inbred piece of shit." My dad heard me and was so upset that I said that to someone I was in an accident with. And then I said that to a guy who thought I was cute and just wanted to go on a date. I blocked the third number. The next day, he reached out again to tell me I gave him the wrong policy number. I told him I didn't. He said that it'd be easier to pay cash, that I was the problem. He was talking to his insurance, I guess, and began to try validating my info. He had my mom's name, address, and phone number. I verified it, told him not to contact me again, and blocked his new number. Next morning, super early, I get a text, basically saying he finished the claim and I was awful for making it harder than it needed to be going through insurance and not going on a date with him. He then included, "You're so beautiful and ugly at the same time. Don't take risks, stay on a good path. Goodbye." At this point, I got scared. 5th number blocked. Then at midnight, he texts, "You up? I know where you live. Don't try and screw me over on insurance. I'll report it as a hit and run. You should have just gone on a date with me." I took the phone to my dad, showed him the texts, and filled him in. My dad, a pretty scary dude, then calls the guy. He answered,
Shoot, I knew you were into me. Want to come over?
My dad got very mad. My dad said this was beyond harassment. This was his final warning to not contact me, and that we didn't care how he reported it. Robert began saying I came on him and offered sex as payment, invited him to my house, and was, and I quote, "a horny bitch." Instantly blocked, police contacted, insurance notified, all the things. Next day, I talked to the insurance, protective order filed, get another text telling me I shouldn't have involved police, blocked the 7th number, notify police, go to stay at my dad's because dude doesn't have this address. My dad is a very tall and very, very scary dude who loves his Second Amendment rights. Late last night, watching stars with my dad and older brother, the doorbell rings. Dad goes to see who it is, and it's fucking Robert with a trash bag filled with things I left at his house. I call the police, my dad goes ballistic, all the things. The police come and arrest the guy. What was in the bag? Lingerie, a knife, lip balm, and a Dita Von Tess fetish book. This story was posted by user socialjustice_cactus. I think my friend and I would have been R-word or otherwise harmed if we hadn't listened to our guts. I was 18, my friend 16. I had just graduated high school and we decided to go camping overnight. Both of us are female, but it was a safe area close to home, so we weren't really worried. We were making dinner when a man with fishing gear walks into view of our campsite from up the canyon in the river. He asked if he could cut through our side to the road. Nothing seemed unusual, so we said sure. He stopped in the middle of our site and asked us what we were making. Really just made polite small talk, but then his questions started getting a little uncomfortable.
How old are you guys? Where are you from? How long are you planning to be up here? Is it just the two of you guys up here?
I'll admit, some little part of me felt uneasy, but my friend and I were naive. We answered every single question and even offered the guy some food. He declined the food and headed out of our campsite and down the canyon. A couple hours later, he and another middle-aged man walk up the canyon from the direction the first man left in and strolled right into our campsite. The first one took us up on our earlier offer for some dinner and really just sat there. The new guy asked us a lot of questions, most along the same vein as the first guy. This felt uncomfortable. I was uneasy, but I didn't want to be rude. After a while, they thanked us for the chat and left our campsite, heading up the canyon, away from where we assumed they were camped. This is when subtle alarm bells became a little less subtle. My friend and I ate and sat by the fire well into the evening past dark, laughing, having fun. Now I concede that they may have simply had a fishing base lower in the canyon and their campsite higher, but every ounce of self-preservation was on the edge at this point. My intuition screamed for me to reconsider. I was desperate to enjoy the camping trip though, and I didn't say anything. But God, the tension was thick in the air between my friend and I. We were both uneasy and did what we could to fill the silence between us. Eventually, she said, "You know the worst part about camping by a river?" My stomach sank. Of course I knew. Here in northern Utah, where the river's fed largely by runoff and they trape down steep mountains, they're loud. You can't hear anything over them, I responded. She nodded. "You think we should leave, don't you?" She said she didn't feel good about the situation. At this point in our lives, we were both staunch Mormons, so we said a prayer. I now see this as me consciously and fully welcoming the voice of my intuition into my decision-making process. Clear as day, we both knew we had to get out. As soon as we really stopped pushing down that intuition in favor of having a fun night, all bets were off. Terror wouldn't leave us until we got off the dirt road of the canyon fork onto the main paved road out of the mountains into town. We both watched the rear view the whole time, praying we never saw headlights behind us. As soon as we had a signal, we called my dad and told him what happened. He told us to get the hell out of there and make sure we weren't being followed. We ended up sleeping safe and sound in my friend's backyard that night, Knowing what I do now as a non-consensual assault therapist, I'm almost certain those men had ill intentions for us that night. And that's gonna be it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed these stories, and I hope to see you in the next one. Good night.